Okay, so we've got all of our posts installed and temporary secure. So now it's time to put the top cap on. And the top cap is called also your grabber rail, whatever you want to call it. I'd like to talk a little bit about what all kinds of different grabber rails you can use. This one here is a standard, it's called a 6010 profile, and it's readily available at any of the stores here in town. Also, this one here, as you can see, this groove here is plowed out. So it fits really nicely on these brackets on top of the post. So you can see how, and that's one of the reasons we did this, was so it would fit on that bracket, and you had a lot of different options of grab rail. You get this profile or any other profiles. LJ Smith's a good one to go look at on the internet. They have a lot of different profiles. If you don't like this one, you want to do something different. Also, they can get these, like I said, in plowed or non-plowed. Pretty much any species of wood that you want to get, you can get too. So that's really good. You can do something as simple as a square piece if you want to. You can make it yourself, and it just sets right on top. Here, if you do that, the brackets are more exposed. Whichever look you want to do is available. That's one of the reasons we don't supply the top cap with the interior handrail system, just because there is so many options out there for this. So that's what we do for top caps. So like I say, I would start with probably LJ Smith, go on the web, and they have a lot of different profiles for you to look at. But you can also do something as simple as just a square piece. SBS stocks a couple different styles of rail too. So lots of options out there for top cap, and that's the reason for these posts, is so you have a wide variety of options. Okay, this portion of the video is going to be about installing our top cap or our grabber rail. We refer to it a lot of times as grabber rail or top cap, either one. So one of the big questions is how to get started putting the top cap on. And what I find the easiest way to do it is to go ahead. I always want to start from a hard point. So this is a representation of my wall. So I want to start from my wall building out to my corner, and that kind of gives me an anchor point to start from. So the way I find that measurement from my wall to this corner is to go ahead and just cut a piece of scrap of my rail, which is plowed, so it sets right over the top of this, and I can move it right up into that corner, and it's setting right where it needs to be. And then I can pull a measurement to that point, to this point right here. That gives me a good measurement to do that. But when I do that, I want to make sure this post is plumb, because if it's not plumb, if it's leaning one way or the other and I cut that rail to it, we're kind of anchored to that, and you can actually ruin a piece of your rail that way. So what I always do is double check that we're plumb here, and we are, so we're good to make this measurement. And if you're not plumb, just go ahead and hold the level to it and just move the post to where you're plumb. So if I hold it like that, and sometimes it is helpful to have a second set of hands sometimes, but you can do it this way by yourself. Just make sure you're plumb and take that measurement to that corner, to the farthest corner out. So we're like 24 7/8 to there. So I'll go ahead, and I've actually already cut that piece just so we can move forward with the video. And so we bring this piece back, go ahead and install it here. We'll take this little piece out because it's just in the way at this point. Get our top cap set, and again, where it planes out to where this little piece comes together. You can always double check it this way and make sure your angles are coming together good, and they are. So what I normally do at that point, I'll take a temporary screw and install it to this. Okay, and then we want to come back to this wall, and we want to anchor this rail to our wall. And sometimes that's a little bit hard to do, because a lot of times all that's is drywall. So you can cut your drywall and put a block back in behind here, or put a rosette and adhere a rosette to it. There's several ways to accomplish that, but you want to try to anchor this point to your wall. That kind of helps everything else. You don't have to, but it just makes the handrail a lot more solid. So once you get this attached and got your post here plumb, and you anchor this to that wall, then you can come through here, double check these posts, all your posts on this portion of the rail, go ahead and plumb them up and anchor them with a temporary screw. So you just take and do this, and just put your level on it, make sure they're level, and then go ahead and put a temporary screw in it. And that's getting us all anchored up solid here. And do the same thing to this one. So it makes it really nice because you can get these all plumbed up really nice like that. And then just go ahead and put a temporary screw in. And then you've got a solid point that you can start this next angle here. So I'll do that in the next video. Okay, so we've got our top, I've rotated the display here so we're at a different perspective, but we've got our top cap here anchored to our wall, and out to here, this post plumbed, and these posts in between all plumbed and temporary screwed down so it's held in place so we won't move. So now we need to make this 45 and transition over to this angle here. And we've determined that angle earlier when we was installing, that is a 35-degree angle. So we know that this piece, each one of these pieces need to be cut at 17.5 degrees to give us a 35 to transition down our stairs. So the easiest way to find this measurement from here to that 35 to that 17.5 degree angle is to go ahead and cut a couple pieces of scrap at our 17 degrees like this, so that we can find exactly where that angle's at. So we take that and we put this piece on here, and it'll take a little bit of adjustment to figure out where that angle needs to be at. So that's why I got two pieces here. I put them together, and then that tells me where I need to anchor this piece at. So it tells me I need to anchor that piece right about there. So I'll take and I'll go ahead and put a temporary screw in this just to hold it in place. I should have my screws a little closer, but take that, and then I'll put a temporary screw in the bottom of it to hold it so I don't lose my place. There. So we got that anchored now, so we know where this 17 degrees is at. Once again, we want to make sure this post is plumb and this post is plumb. And if you need to adjust a little bit with these temporary screws and the shims, then do so to where that stays pretty plumb. I've already done that, so these are both running pretty plumb, and that gives us a correct measurement from this point to this point. So you would just measure from this outside point is where I like to measure from, and to the point of this, and that gives us our overall run. So we got a 45 here and a 17 here that we need to cut, which I've already cut for sake of the video. So our piece looks like that. So we install our piece here, and we install our piece on here. So that angle fits together, and this angle will fit together. There we go. So when I get that done, I want to put a temporary screw in that to hold that angle together. And that gives us a little ability to move this angle around a little bit when we secure it permanently. But all these angles should be glued when it's done, but we don't want to glue them right now because we're going to need to pull them back up. So we've got that. So our next run is just going to be a piece of handrail that runs all the way down through this post here. And I'll go cut that for us. And also I should say that when we do that, I'm going to go ahead and anchor that one a little bit. It's loose. loose. So now we've got ourselves built out to this 35-degree angle here. And this angle, we'll clean these up a little bit when we go back and glue them together, and I'll show you how to do that. But our next piece, we need to go from here out to this starting post here. Now, code does say a couple things that people may not be aware of. One is the end of this handrail has to come out beyond the nose of your step. So it has to come out this little bit to this nose to meet code. So we want to make sure it extends out. The other thing it says is that we have to have a safety ring, which means a round piece like this, so that you can't catch something when you're walking up the stairs or down the stairs too. You just can't have a raw piece of stairs sticking out like this. A lot of houses do. This code changed several years ago, and so there's still a lot of handrails out there that don't return back, as they call it, or have a safety D on it. But that is required for code, and I'll get a little bit more into this when we cut this piece here. Okay, so I went ahead and cut this piece for us, making sure I came out past the nose of our stair, and I prepped this for our D-ring, which is code. Not everybody does it, but it is code. It's the way it's supposed to be done. Like I said, it has just changed, maybe the last code cycle or maybe the one before, but it's just changed not that long ago. So I went ahead and cut this piece. I went ahead and glued and screwed these joints here like they should be. And there's a variety of ways of doing that. I'll do another little short clip on how I like to accomplish that. And I normally do it once I get these cut. I will use glue and some tape and stuff, and I'll show you how I get it together and then screw it. So that is that for that video. And so got the handrail on, so the next video will be how to remove the temporary screws and install the permanent screws.